Hello everyone, this is Gorax, and today I'm gonna show you another team against Mekkatorque boss. This time around we will use AOE team with Rally. Rally is quite good here, I'm not gonna lie. Probably worth of 4th place or 5th, depending on other teams and obviously your inspirations. And they are really good at AoE, as we know from previous experience, and this will be also first time you will notice I'm using Filto in the team. Now this fight will not really reflect what's happening because this is phase 2, but you can still see a significant DPS on Filto, at least in this team, because I'll use other DPS and you will see all of that in this one simple video. So this is phase 2 of Mekkatorque. However, I did prepare this team for phase 1. This team is doing 241 million with a terrible psychic core and no change in the equipment, no tempers, nothing. It's not easy to survive, but that's what I had on test server when we skipped Otherworld exploration totally, so I couldn't farm psychic core solvents and etc. So the strategy against this boss will be very similar to previous teams. You want to deal damage when the minions spawn and utilize multiple targets. We will build Sagomir here with Titan's Ribcage, so it's quite hard to build him with enough accuracy and resistance, as well as making him tanky enough, but that does work. Another thing that you want to do before you put your heroes on the field is put Jillian first, drop her first, which means his passive, Sagomir's passive, will always go to Jillian. Okay, so she will be constantly getting extra energy, making it easier for her to achieve 15-second rotation and keep our team alive. So why we bring Sagomir? Obviously Sagomir has 2 different debuffs and we get 10% extra damage per debuff. So we're looking at 20% damage increase just from that. We have Tantan, debuff immunity for himself and defense up, which is quite useful. Will increase our damage by 10% when he applies his ultimate. And we'll also use this set here with 50% chance of applying recharge speed penalty, which will increase the stacks of the misstep, which means we will do more damage. And our second support will be Jillian. As I said, we want haste on her. We want this to be at 15-second rotation, and the carrot does help. On top of that, we'll have Puppeteer set, which will even be more beneficial and easier to do everything. And since we use Gatekeeper stuff, we'll use this set, Devout Prayer, that will increase our damage by 12% when she applies shields. We'll use Filto as the main damage dealer, and since we use Lorenfiel, we have 40% crit rate through Lorenfiel ultimate, so we can use this Hysteria pamphlet, which grants us crit damage. If you don't have Lorenfiel or Gladys, this team will be very hard to pull off, as they are really important here. Without Gladys, you can still use someone like Huberg, but Lorenfiel is mandatory mainly because of his utility with his ultimate that grants us crit rate and extra energy, which is what makes this team do 15-second rotation, which is important in this boss. I'll go over the talents shortly. As I mentioned, Lorenfiel. Yes, we'll use Lorenfiel with Downpipe Organ to boost the damage of our range heroes. We'll use this as well to have a chance to get Frozen, which will increase 10% damage. Ideally, you would want some accuracy for this to proc, but I've tried it without and it seems to work. As long as you proc it once, you will have that 10%. You don't need to proc it multiple times. And we also have that to increase the chance of this triggering. If you struggle to keep Lorenfiel alive, you can replace that with some extra sustain. That will help. And Gladys. As I said, we use Gladys mainly for Witches Remain, 3 years, but also because she is so good and grants us 40% attack up and other boosts as well. So it's really easy to play this team when you have those 2 supports, right? And then we look at the timings for this team. As you see, everyone is on 15-second rotation. That's our goal. That's what we want to achieve. And the team will start with Lorenfiel, then, well, first Lorenfiel, then Sagomir, then Witches Remain, and then a damage dealer while Jillian is at 14.8 to ensure we have enough defense up and dispel any debuffs applied. Talents quickly, because with the wild team I totally forgot about the talents, so let's go through them this way so you can just copy them. And then we move on to another rally team. This one does slightly more damage, but that's because although Filto is good, Huberk is just so much better. Okay, everything else will be exactly the same, as you can see. The timings, the equipment is exactly the same. The only thing is, obviously, Huberk will have talents, which are probably the same as Filto, and he's so much easier to pull off. His placement doesn't really matter, and he does a lot of damage by himself, and timings will be exactly the same. Just simple. Huberk is so much better this season. Maybe overall than that. And obviously, if you have Philander with his ultimate, you're even looking at more damage, as you can see, 13 million damage increase. Everything else is exactly the same timings, you'll see here, and just the talents on Philander quickly, so you can have a look how I've built him. And that's it. Very easy to build team, and solid damage if you have this team. Once again, thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Bye.